President Obama just slammed Donald Trump for one of the first times since Trump got inaugurated, and every word of what he said here is true. Just take a look.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine that Imagine if I had pulled Fox News' credentials from the White House press corps. You're laughing, but no, this is what's happening. Imagine if I'd said to law firms that were representing parties that were upset with policies my administration had initiated, that you will not be allowed into government buildings. We will punish you economically for dissenting from the Affordable Care Act or the Iran deal. We will ferret out students who protest against my policies. It's unimaginable that the same parties that are silent now would have tolerated behavior like that from me or a whole bunch of my predecessors. So, and I say this not on a partisan basis. This has to do with something more precious, which is, who are we as a country and what values do we stand for?
Yeah, can you imagine if President Obama or President Biden did any of the things that Donald Trump is doing right now? Republicans would be calling for impeachment on day one. If Obama or Biden targeted our allies and threatened to invade Canada, Mexico, Greenland, Panama, and more, Republicans would be freaking out. If Obama or Biden crashed the stock market to the point that we're in a bear market and losing trillions of dollars every single day, Republicans would be freaking out. But since it's Donald Trump doing it, they're perfectly fine. They think it's part of his master plan. There's such a double standard with today's Republican Party. If Donald Trump does something, even if it hurts Republicans, they're okay with it. Any other politician does that, they freak out. They would lose their minds. Their face would be turning red.
The stupidest man in our country is the president, and he is inflicting the lack of brain power that he has on our economy. The stock market is crashing as every indicator points to recession. People are worried to spend their money because they don't know if they're going to have it next month. Donald Trump is destroying our economy with his stupidity, which is why it was so therapeutic to hear one of the smartest people we have ever had serve in the office of President of the United States rip him to shreds. Yes, former President Barack Obama delivered a scathing rebuke of Donald Trump and not only his tariff disaster, but his attacks on what is most fundamentally important in this country. President Obama hit on something that is really important in this conversation about how Democrats need to be messaging, and that's authenticity and honesty. It's kind of the opposite of what Gavin Newsom is doing right now, thinking he has to cave to the right wing by bringing them on his podcast, Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, MAGA radio host, and then what? Trashing trans athletes is his idea of how to win back voters? That's not the case. Lead with your values. Tim Walz put it perfectly. These attacks on kids who just want to play sports with their friends, they're weird. Get out of our business. It's none of yours. If you care about equality, fight for it. Don't just talk about it. Gavin Newsom has been the perfect example of this, and I don't want to get into any more of him, but people don't like Democrats grandstanding and talking down to them and then not living up to the ideals that they claim to espouse. They want fighters like Jasmine Crockett and AOC, Bernie Sanders, people who stand by and act on what they actually believe in. That this fight is as important as they claimed it to be. When you say this fight is important and then shy away from it, you're not a real fighter. And we need real fighters right now. One of those real fighters was actually out walking the walk. That was Jamie Raskin. This clip right here. Not every Democrat needs to do 25 straight hours of standing like Cory Booker. I don't think probably any other Democrat could do 25 straight hours of standing and speaking. That is an incredible feat that we saw from Senator Cory Booker. But what every Democrat can do is stand up a couple of times, talk for a few hours, make their voice heard, use their power in opposition as often as you can. Go and do the work. We need more of that. This moment is calling us to it. I feel like too many Democrats have shied away.
I would have loved to see Obama versus Trump.
Me too. I agree.
And first of all, Obama versus Trump in 2008, Obama wins hands down.
Well, yes, definitely.
So I love how this is a boxing talk.
Yeah.
Now, when 2016, Obama has a bunch of, Iraq and Afghanistan.
He's vulnerable, though. I'll tell you why. DACA. That's what nobody ever talks about in the Obama-Trump thing. Don't forget, Obama takes his 2012 victory, basically says, oh, the GOP even now agrees with me on immigration. And then he does DACA and he legalizes, X million in a number of illegal immigrants who are brought here as children. That also fundamentally changed the immigration consensus on the Republican side, because they were like, wait, holy shit, you can just do that? Because we don't agree with that at all. And that really ignited the base as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, a moment I think about a lot with Trump and just like being able to unleash the rage of the Republican base is in the 2012 debate, Candy Crowley was the moderator with Mitt Romney, and she fact-checked him famously. This was when fact-checking was shocking in a presidential debate. And she said something about Benghazi, and she was like, no, he did say that. She corrected Romney on behalf of Obama. To this day, it's questionable whether she was even right. And Romney was just like, oh, he did? Okay. Trump would have been like, excuse me? Be like, look at this woman. He would have gone off. And I was like, and I think about that moment because that's what the Republican base wanted to hear. But also it turns out America had a lot of festering feelings about the mainstream media that it needed unleashed. And Trump was just this incredible vector to just blow up this system. Which, I mean, if you ask me about optimism, that's the thing I'm most optimistic
Yeah, but
about.
Don't you think Obama had a good sense in how to turn it on, how to be anti-establishment correctly?
I will not deny that he's one of the most talented politicians literally to ever play the game. And he is, just unbelievable rhetorical talent. Look, as a counterfactual, would he be more talented than Hillary? Yeah, okay, no question. in terms of anybody would have been for that one. But at the same time, all the signs were there. All the signs for the Trump victory and for the backlash against Obamaism kind of as a political project, it all existed. I just laid the tea leaves out there, from 2012 to 2015, in retrospect, it's the most predictable thing in the world that Donald Trump will get elected. But it was crazy in the moment. I got to live through that, which was really fun, professionally.
I saw a video on my timeline, and it was of Barack Obama. And he said, if I was to do what is being done right now, could you imagine? And at first the crowd laughed because, yes, we know, my brother, we understand. But then he got really serious. He was like, no, listen, could you imagine if I would have done what is being done right now? And I've always said this, even during the election time, I said that a message is being sent to Black people. But not only that, this entire election is triggering for Black women. And what I mean when I say that, we all grew up thinking we have to be twice as good to get half as far. And because of that, a lot of us have resumes for jobs that don't make sense. When you look at the jobs that we apply to and that we're going for, and you look at our resume, it's like, you need to shoot a little bit higher. You know what I'm saying? They don't match up. So here it is, a Black woman going up against a man for a job he is clearly not qualified for. Not only that, his plans for the nation have constantly been critiqued and proven to not be the best thing for America. Yet he was still given the job even though he was not qualified. And every day he gets the freedom to make a spectacle of what it means to be the president of the United States of America. He disrespects traditions and norms. He won't even take time out his day to greet service members that have given their ultimate sacrifice for this country. And nobody bats an eye. Nobody says anything. Nobody freaks out. But we all remember the hell that broke loose when Obama wore a tan suit. We all remember how they constantly misgendered his wife, critiqued her outfits, critiqued her hair. And she was one of the more progressive first ladies we have ever had. Look at all of the things she got done when she was in the White House. What is our current first lady doing? What is she doing with her first lady duties? Yet nobody bats an eye. Nobody says anything.
Obama said, imagine if I would have done any of this. We couldn't imagine because y'all would have ripped him a new one. Y'all showed y'all natural asses when the poor man wore a tan suit. A tan suit. And y'all is literally letting this orange jelly bean run rampant and do whatever, destroy the United States of America from the top to the bottom. But y'all showed y'all natural behinds when Obama, the best president of the United States, wore a tan suit. It's something serious living in America while black, huh?
Good afternoon, everyone. We have some breaking news as Obama has called out the Trump administration and Trump himself. Barack Obama has called on U.S. citizens, colleges, and law firms to resist Trump's political agenda and warned Americans to prepare to possibly sacrifice in support of democratic values. Obama said in a speech at Hamilton College in New York, "It's been easy during most of our lifetimes to say you are a progressive, or say you are for social justice, or say you are for free speech, and not have to pay the price for it." He would go on to say, "It's up to all of us to fix this, the citizens, the ordinary person who says, no, that's not right." He questioned the Trump administration's deals and policies and questioned the people who have stayed silent and instead of speaking out against Trump. These people spoke out against the taking away of free speech and the taking away of American rights during the Biden administration, something that didn't happen. He would go on to say it's unimaginable that these same parties are silent and wouldn't have tolerated that behavior from me or a whole bunch of my predecessors. If you haven't seen the interview, I strongly recommend you watch it. Obama talked a lot about the current administration, and it's honestly a great watch. He's absolutely right, too. Can you imagine if Obama did what Trump was doing today? No. Let's not even do that. Let's go more recently. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was sitting in the Oval Office doing what Trump is doing right now? All hell would break loose. The right would say not crazy things, because we're saying the same things now. The right would say insane things, not even insane. They would say the same things we're saying right now against the Trump administration. And I'm sure many Americans on the left would hopefully say the same things. But, I mean, Trump is actively going against the American Constitution. He is actively trying to destroy the American Constitution. And Obama is calling that out. I honestly love Obama. I don't agree much with the Democratic Party. I don't agree much with all of their values. And I don't agree with what Obama did in the Middle East. But I think he is a great unifier. He knows what he's talking about. He has a good head on his shoulders. And he truly wanted what was best for the American people. And he still truly wants what's best for the American people, as you can see in his speeches today. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But with that being said, like and repost this video to get the information out. Drop a follow for more news content. Check out my other platforms. I'm on YouTube and Substack. Later, guys.
So in his most recent interview, Barack Obama said, imagine if I had done this. Imagine if I had taken away CNN's press pass. My thing is this, Barack Obama, You wouldn't have taken away the media's press pass because the media was protecting you. That's the entire point. While you're sitting in the White House not doing anything for the very abrasive people that elected you to begin with, let's be abundantly clear, because you didn't do anything for black Americans, not directly at least, or really honestly indirectly. The media was protecting you because you are on the left's agenda. You are part of their programming. You were their golden child, actually. The media loved Barack Obama. The media did not attack Barack Obama. If the economy was tanking under Obama, everything was hunky-dory. It's not Obama's fault. It was Congress's fault. The reason that Trump does what he does is because he has the balls to step into realms and go and do things that no other president has done before. He's sort of a second version of Teddy Roosevelt, if you will. So, Barack, while you're talking about, imagine what people would have done had I done this, had I done that. They wouldn't have done anything. They would have simply found a way to cover it up and make you look good, which was their entire job from 2009 to the day you left when Trump took over for the first time. We have to stop acting like, and I'm never going to pretend like the left-leaning media didn't protect you, Barack Obama, because there's a whole lot that you should have done that you did not. You sat in the position of Pharaoh and definitely were not a Moses to black Americans. Judge.
Okay, so Barack Obama calls out Trump and says, imagine if I had done any of this. He's so funny when he's mad, when he does that look. No, seriously. Imagine if I would have pulled Fox News. The press corps. I'm like, yeah, imagine. A lot more things would have got done. Where were your executive orders? You telling me you had all these executive orders that they were blocking and we could have been living lavishly if you would have just broke the rules? Run again. Okay, we got to try this again. And this time, don't listen to nothing Congress says and just executive order and wait for the judges to figure it out. Okay? And do that look that you do. Imagine. I am imagining. As a matter of fact, that's all we've been doing is imagining if you would have been this disrespectful to the Constitution and the laws of the land. We would have loved it. Just pardon whoever you want to pardon. Just let the streets loose. It would have been lit.
Guys, so Trumpy Dumpy just brought out the Barry and Barack Obama, and boy, did he just lay down an epic smackdown on Trumpy Dumpy and his authoritarian show. Finally breaking his silence at a recent speech, he said, imagine if I had did any of the things Trump is doing now. Imagine if I pulled Fox News' credential. Imagine if I deported students who were protesting against my policy. And since after all, this was a guy who couldn't even put mustard on a burger without the right-wing shitbag Uncle Cletus's having a stroke, he followed up and concluded with, it's unimaginable that the same parties that are silent now would have tolerated behavior like that from me or any of my predecessors. For those of you who are wondering, where's Obama? Why isn't he standing up? Why isn't he showing up? Why isn't he speaking out against this 5-alarm dumpster fire and complete and utter destruction of every American institution and our economy? He just showed the up like Stone Cold Steve Austin in a run-in.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.